Hey chat, how we doing this evening? I have not quite finished setting up yet because I once again am running late. Is there ever not been a time where I've not been running late? Like, sorry, has there ever been a time where I'm not running late? Because I think the past probably 4 or 5 streams I've left everything up to the last minute. Usually not on purpose, but enough times that you'd think it was. Alright, so... check this. Score okay, cool. Alright, let's see what we're doing today. So, what we have today is I am to make this character here talk, move from one side of the screen to the other, and have the antenna move, basically just have the momentum. Okay, so I do actually have my drawing tablet out today. Yippee, you guys get to see more of my god-awful handwriting and sketching. Right. And try not to destroy everything on my desk. Move those out of the way before they get damaged. There we go. Cool. So, I will... yeah, this view's fine. So, the goal of this is to move, I'm going to say probably from the left-hand side to the right. So, the idea is to have... where is my rotation tool? There it is. Okay, so when I start around about here somewhere, and then have the character move in an arc downwards to here, but then I also want to have so there, and I want to have momentum so it moves in a spiral at the end. So those are my main points here. So I've got start, so start, and I have one around back here, so mid motion, and then overshoot to in here. So the character moves in an arc, overshoots a bit, and sort of comes to a rest here. Now, something else I probably want to do is I want to have a anticipation on this section here. So it goes backwards this way before going down this way. And then around, and stops there. Now I need to do the body movement first, so body translation, then I want to do probably head rotation. So moves down that way, and then have the head move in line, and then do I want to have the mouth moving for this? Probably want to do mouth then, right? So probably mouth rot. So mouth rotation, and then so antenna bending. So this entire section here probably needs to sort of curve forward at the start, and then curve back as it's moving along this path. And when it gets to here, it needs to move forward and backwards on a delay. Also, I just realized what I've written down here, huh? Like all this here. Hmm. Out of context, that would be a little bit concerning, wouldn't it? Anyways, here translation. I accidentally hit the space mouse again. Whoopsies. Alright. Also, I am not entirely certain I can stay online today, and the only reason I say that is because there's been a few internet outages lately, like there's been Wi-Fi outages, and that doesn't personally affect me. But what is more concerning is the fact that there seems to be a massive thunderstorm brewing outside. I'm not sure how I feel about that, considering the fact that I am live. Alright, so, close mode, and now, I don't want this to be too far to the edge of the screen, right? I don't want to be too close to the edge. So, maybe around about here. Actually, we'll start here. Did I manage to avoid moving it in the Y? Yes, I did. So... go say 10 frames. I should probably help that. But that, if I calculate this here, it goes all the way to the back, then that's not quite what I want. Maybe I want the spin to be calc instead. No, it all starts here for some reason. There's no reason why it should be like that. Why are all of these off-centered? Ew, what the hell? Oh, that is so I don't like that. Okay. What can I do about this then? Since this is giving me a very poor set of options here. So that just starts... why does it start me there of all places? Yeah, all of these are locked to here. So maybe I need to... okay, that's just about as close as I'm going to get. I think. So it's there, and then probably say 5 frames later. Actually, let's go 10 frames. So it moves like that. And then on frame 15, I can just drag this all the way down. So it gives me that arc. Okay, it's probably a little bit slow, but I can edit that later. So then this here. That. Not as quite as clean as I would like. So around about there should be fine. And then move this across. Either smidge. Yeah. Somehow they up there. Okay. Ah, now that's actually far higher than it needs to be. Hmm. Copy all these. Rid of that one. Fine. Yeah, it goes like way too high. What have I done here? I wish they made it slightly easier for me to work with this thing. Because at this point, it just seems to have all of the important ones that I would normally use as a marker conglomerated to the back here, and for what, I don't know. Wonder if I should move the... But if I do that, it might mess up the animation. Ah, what a beast. Is there anything that isn't directly connected to the back of this model? Seems like all of them are. Why though? Maybe I can add... Okay, this is going to be a bit silly, but maybe I can add a point to this. I'm able to... Oh, right, because this thing is... Because this is a library override, I can't actually edit the model in order to add the... every day I'm more and more disappointed about the things I'm incapable of doing, apparently. Alright, so... What other options do I have? I can't move the center... Like, I can't move this point here. I can't add anything to this. So it seems like my best option is just to use the antenna. Which is frustrating to say the least. And it's not going to be effective for long, but it'll be fine as long as I can get this to work the way I want it to. Okay. Now I can vaguely see what I'm doing. That one there. This one down. Move this across. So I want to have this like more or less on the same level, if not lower. Okay, that's a bit better. So I do probably need to edit the curves on this. But mostly I just want to bring these in so they're not too sloppy. I hide this. I'll just play this back every time. Okay, so what can be improved? I probably do a slightly longer anticipation at the start. This movement here needs to be probably at least 2 frames each side faster. I probably need to also edit the recoil here so it drops off more evenly. So probably the first thing to change here. There, so I want shift F6. Okay, there we go. There's the graduator. So let's change the body. Okay, that's only showing rotation. Yep. So these ones here, with the exception of the white light, okay, probably doesn't need to be that much. It's just having the slow in, slow out. So it curves up that route. I want to have it slightly. Yeah, that looks good. Probably fine. I do need a little bit of time to start animation though. I'm gonna do 10 frames at the start. I did get everything right. Yep, I did from the looks of it. Okay, cool. So now, why is... I'm sorry? Why do you need to... Huh. Yeah. Alright, let's update that. Probably, yeah, I could stand to have a little bit longer on this specific part of the animation. Oh, I go. Nyoom. Okay, yep. That is the timing that I want. Now, I probably do want to... I want to scale this. Yeah, it changes the arc of it, but it also gives this a bit more space to work with. Okay, this ending point here, these two do not need to be. There they go. Just look over the leaf for a moment here. Okay, not bad. Could probably do with a little bit more overshoot on the edge. So this slot here, two on both sides. I think I see it. Yeah, I feel like it stops too suddenly here. I think the momentum would take it a bit further than that. Alright, let's have a look. Yeah, I think the bit here is actually probably slightly too much. Oh wait, I've got to update the parts. Right. So yeah, this could. That's the end of that movement. This one here needs to be out a bit more. Now, why would that be? It's like way too much. There's like one thing here. I wonder if I need to. What I can do is I can actually make these into vectors. Yeah, so that should. So one sooner, I think. Yeah, that makes more sense. And this set here. Make these vectors as well. Okay, the only downside of the whole vectoring thing is the fact that these don't have any curves anymore. Okay, let's try making these into free handles. Make paths. Why? Okay. Really? Why are you complaining about encoding issues? You may want to explain yourself, OBS. What's your deal? I have not done a single solitary thing yet besides mess around with some keyframes. Disrespectful little. Okay, so what do I need to lower these ones? Okay, yeah, that makes a bit more sense. So it curves. Probably a few too many keyframes on that, that's fine. Let's over a bit. Okay, that's more curved, but that's not quite what I'm needing. I'm not sure if it's the right one. That over a bit. Okay, that looks a lot cleaner. Alright, let's see how we go here. Do I feel like there's maybe too little rebound still? I feel like if anything, I've just made this smaller. So it probably needs to be a lot more like this. And then here. Okay, I feel like I'm not quite getting the movement. And yet it doesn't look that much more different which is a bit strange to me. But this entire movement here is going to entirely dictate what the antenna on top does, which is, believe it or not, the actual main goal of this assignment. Not whatever I'm doing here, it's the little bit on the top that matters. So maybe my issue is not necessarily this in motion here, but the in-between motion. So this movement. So what it really should be is the middle here has no bearing. Interesting. So if I make these free handles, and then I turn them, why is this one so intent on going all wonky? Like, there's no point. Just a bit goofy, don't you think? Probably doesn't even need this one, to be honest. But then that becomes an issue, huh? It becomes really asymmetric. Maybe I need to delete this keyframe and then insert keyframe Okay, so now this should be entirely... Yeah, it should be entirely straight. I don't really want to vector this because otherwise I'm going to lose that movement down here. I will give that a bit more of a curve though. The real movements here are these ones. Actually, let's do... Okay, that looks a little bit better, although now the build-up isn't as fun. Scale these out so they're also slowing in at the end before it hits this section here. So what's the deal with this one? Okay, cool. So that should come to a more smooth ending there. Okay, that's a lot cleaner. So it's actually fast in the middle. And then, because the slow in, then slow out before it goes into that recoil. I could probably stand to make this slot here smaller though. Now that I've made all those adjustments. So let's normalize this set here for just a moment so I can see what I'm doing. Well, is it individual? Actually, needs to be on 2D cursor. But that only just draws the entire thing back, right? So maybe they do have to be individual. Yeah. Okay. Needs to be more individualized. And that has just messed things up for me. Okay. Bit frustrating. That does that. Weird. I guess I have to do this manually. Not that I want to, but... was. Love that. This is such pedantic little details that I'm doing, but it's just living. Right. It's the ears too. Ears like this. Okay, this one. Like, sorry, is there a keyframe at 50? Doesn't seem like. I don't know what's on that. Maybe 'cause it's in the animation. It's a bit odd. Alright, let's close that. Let's end the emergency by actually 60 questions. I hope. Okay, that shouldn't be too bad, especially when I put in the rest of the animation bits. Now, I do want to fix this here because the motion's no longer as curved as I would like it. So I need to make it wait. Why is it? This shouldn't be moving at all. And then these two here. Make those two. Okay, cool. Do I think let's stop off on the ears too much? I could. Actually, no, it is sharp enough. It's probably this bit here. Maybe it needs to be up a bit more. And what is going on here? Alright, that goes back. do individual origins again for it. Okay. So hopefully that should go slightly there. Maybe I give that slightly. So this one here, move that down for it. And it's too much. This one here, it's very sharp. If I move it out anymore, it's still going to hit the same result. Okay, I need to probably give one more. Okay, that's slightly more curved. What if I... Okay, too much. Should be fine. I wish it was a bit more curved. This thing's just intent on being weird for some strange reason. It's just so sharp on here. And that wasn't my intention with this particular part. Not enough keyframes, perhaps? There should be a sufficient amount of keyframes. Let's have a look, see. Yeah, it just stops. Like, it immediately decelerates. Alright, let's give it that. Okay, that feels a lot better than it was before. Alright, not bad, not bad. Drink. It feels like it stops abruptly, which is not quite right. I don't know why, but this song reminds me of Risk of Rain. I haven't played a lot of Risk of Rain Returns, but I've played enough of it to get the same vibe off of it. Alright, I think I want to move this down a bit. Like, I want it to be far more minimal than what I'm currently giving it. I want to give this slot here more. I want to give this more frames to slow off. Okay, I probably want to squish this down here. Alright, let's try this. Okay, I think that's a bit better. I could probably live with that one. So now probably what I want to do is move the, rotate the head so it goes along the motion. Now, here's something that's a little bit confusing, chat. And I'm not sure if I can use these images as an example, but I'm gonna try and dictate it as well as I can. So, when the character moves, so what I have been shown for this assignment is the way that the character moves its head. So I'll just clear bone paths. Okay. And bring back the annotation. And I'm going to actually set up a new note here. So, the rotation is a massive question mark for me, because the way that the instructor has done it is that when the character moves backwards to anticipate moving forwards, the instructor has the head tilt backwards and then tilt forwards, which doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And the only reason I say this is because, when I'm moving backwards, when I'm physically moving my body backwards, my head does the exact opposite of this. So when I'm, I'm moving backwards, usually my head tilts down. And if I'm moving forwards at any sort of speed, my head tilts upwards. So, what's this guy's deal? Because he does the exact opposite. And I'm still going to do it the way the instructor asks, because I don't want my points to be docked. But it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me, chat? Well, I'm saying that, given the way my life's turned out currently, a whole lot of things don't make a whole lot of sense. I don't know why I'm complaining. Alright, so, rotation. I've got two different options here. I could rotate the head by the head bone itself, or I can use the spin control. I'm going to use the spin control because I find it makes a lot more sense. Right now, so I'll find out where that is rank 25. along the x-axis. Okay, it's not too bad. I probably might want to have the head rotation a little bit sooner. Actually, I did change the timing of that backwards motion to be slow and slow out, so I probably need to change the same here too. And then the motion here. So I think frame 33 is the last main one. So update range and yeah. I'm still gonna have to rotate it regardless, but it just lets me know. Probably need to change the timing of this here. Maybe I move it to whatever the middle frame is here. I think it's frame 29. Yeah, I think I moved this to frame 29. Probably doesn't need to be rotated as far either. Well, the rotation on that's cool and all, it's way too much. Okay. And then, what's the next motion here where it recoils? Is frame 35. So here's where I would want to... Oh, that's like a lot of rotation. See how it looks like that. I'm just like, I'm looking at the antenna up here to see what the current head movement is. So it starts here by default. Really rotates forward. Around about here. Actually, come to think of it, that's quite sharp down the bottom here. What's going on with this? Oh, that probably needs to be moved more. Ooh, okay. Not great. Good thing I caught that, though. So I think it's actually these ones here. Okay. Or it might be these ones here. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. Cool. It's a bit weird that it was so janky, but what can you do about it? It carves and then that, yeah, goes into the spiral a lot quicker. Alright, cool. Well, good to know that I can fix that relatively easily now. So now it's just the head rotation that I have to be worried about, I think. Now move this, the first bit where it goes back actually seems to be around back here. So that moves that. So it moves, head goes forward. It should actually still probably be tilted forward by the time it gets here, right? And then it moves, then it rotates slightly backwards. Because it just seems to ungrab and then do nothing else. Let's see if I can discern what's going on here. So it moves like that. And then what's next? Let's see what the movement's doing here. Why is it so strangely shaped? It does not need to be moved this far. Let's try and grab all of these actually. Okay, let's not do that now. And something weird's going on with this. It's just... I don't think... One of these keyframes shouldn't be here, I feel like. So that's the main motion keyframe. That goes into here. That one goes back here. Yeah, I don't know why it suddenly went so wonky. Back. Okay, that one there's something. Okay, great. I don't know why it's so steep. I remember that both of them are being good in this case. Paths, that's a lot better. Just an even curve would be nice, thanks. Okay, maybe this one needs just a little bit of extra. Hearts. Okay, now I feel like these are still too far back. I'm like making this too pretty in the middle and not considering the outer keyframes. Alright, let's try this again. Okay, yeah, that's bigger. Alright. I do need to be careful about the rotation thing, obviously. That's the downside with using the antenna. So I'm going to calculate bone parts for this. And cleared bone paths for this. Oh wait, of course, the spin's also being... Oh, they couldn't have made this any easier on me, could they? Of course not. Let's just see how the movement goes. Probably a bit too far on the rotation movement. Like, where is it? This here is probably rotated way too far. It probably needs to be like 20 degrees. Try that. Okay, this one here needs to be rotated slightly less. So this one here stops at 0. Then, where do I want the rotation to become stable at? What frame? Okay, the motion here could be a bit nicer. Where is... Huh? Excuse me, Blender, where is my thing that I was using? Rude. Anyway. Clear bone path on this thing. Calculate on this one. Alright, now that I can sort of see what I'm doing, I've realized that now I need to actually move this this should be nice Alright, let's see how it looks now that I've edited it to be more readable. Oh. Okay, I think that's more or less the same, but now it's just easier to read because I don't have to worry about rotation. I just wish that the center point for this wasn't on the back of the model. I also need to frame this entire thing a bit better, but that's fine. That's not my main concern right now. So now I can see the rotation values for this. So frame 40 is where I just rotate this to be. Actually, undo that and rotate this in the X. And at 48, I can just Alt R that. So it has like a little bit of head movement, but not too much. Yeah, I think that's good. And if I'm ever unsure, I can just practice this over and over again in my spare time. Nothing's stopping me from doing that besides the fact that I'm lazy. Like, for real, sometimes just so bad. Now, I did say that I want to do sure, but in this case, I don't think it's actually really necessary. I will, however, do some eye animation. Because I do want the, like, when Talk, sorry, I say the character, when Talk moves forward, I want the eyes to be squished together to essentially just account for whatever wind might be or breeze might be blowing in the face. Even though, like, Talk is a robot, it doesn't really matter. It just gives it a little bit more to the entire situation. So, on frame 29, I am going to have this slot here. Is the on frame 25 suspect, right? So like, I want the eyes to basically, not exactly snapshot, but like to really squint. And then at the end of the movement. So about frame 33 should be fine. So Alt S on. Let's grab these two. And Alt S on frame 33. So you can't really see it, but if you like slow down the animation, you can see Torque blinking basically during that motion. Do I want to move these down a bit? Possibly. And G on that frame. So it blinks down towards the bottom. That's pretty good actually. I want to adjust the camera. Because I feel like the current position that it's in doesn't quite reflect well. So like, just slightly offset. It seems a bit strange to have it in this position. Also, I do need to account for the fact that this is going to be in a weird spot. So I don't want it to be going off the screen. Grab the camera and lock the X. It's a bit more. Okay. So it draws back and blends it. Okay, that should be fine for the camera angle. I would have preferred to have seen Torque's eyes, but there's not much I can do about this current camera position I've been requested to use. What I can do though is zoom this in just a smidge. Actually, you know what? No, I'm not gonna zoom in the camera. Because zooming it in just seems to provide problems. Okay, that's a pretty decent position. And I do prefer the exaggeration of the bot going quite low. But I don't think that's what's needed of me here. Now, why would it do that? Strange. Why would the camera clip isn't that weird, is it? No, the camera's just being weird for... Oh, it's because I was zoomed in on a random spot, no wonder. Alright, let's see. So, on frame 29? Yeah. Wait, hang on a second. Something's wrong. Why is it... Oh, right, I forgot it's actually at the back. So that doesn't really matter in this case. I forgot. I'm sorry, chat. Let's give it that much. Okay, that should be fine. Ooh, nice and snappy. I guess the bottom of the motion being so curved maybe made it look slightly sloppier than I intended for it, but this looks fine now. Alright. So should be good to go. Now it's time to work on the antenna. So when it's idle like this, have it then moving backwards. I do want to have a little bit of movement there. Not too much, mind you, but just enough. I don't know if I want squash and stretch on this one. I don't think it's necessary. I mean, I could add a little bit at the bottom just to accentuate the movement, but at this point I don't think it needs any further accentuation. Okay, so all that. So, all these into I guess the motion for this one doesn't start until much later, right? And then not sure exactly how to do this one. Unfortunately, I didn't get quite far enough in the video as I would have liked. Let's make a thing here, though. And then the actual motion of this recoiling doesn't start until it goes the other direction. So 137 is probably where it starts. Not sure about this one, chat. So the motion here, so this here, I feel like moves slightly too quick. Like the bending at the start here, I feel like moves a little bit too quickly. Also, I feel like that doesn't squish down far enough either. So let's move that down a bit further. And then this needs to wobble back and forth. So this rolls back. Or shooting forwards. I'm not sure, chat. I really am not. I'll give it my best attempt anyway. So from here, so frame 40, I want these to be. Oh. And then R here. I feel like it could probably wobble just that little bit more. So, so all these need to be matched. And then let's have a look. Okay, it's not too bad. Probably needs a bit more. So, like, see how it bends really far down there? Okay, that's quite nice. Feels like it's still a bit off though. Maybe one of them is not. Not that I could tell in this goddamn junction. Let's focus on one of these just to get a better idea. Why has it got all the rotations? There's no reason why it should have this many rotations. Okay, for some reason it does this weirdly. If it's on normalize, I was like, I was fairly sure it was only on the X. So let's try scaling these. I feel like it's still. Okay, maybe these two here. It still needs to be scaled out. feel like that's probably. I'm a little bit more satisfied with that motion. So the antenna for this one is actually what I'd call a bit softer than what I'm aiming for. Because, like, I look at an antenna, right, and I think, like, aerial antenna, like, the types that you see on old cars. And I can tell you two things about those. They hurt when you get hit by them, and they're quite stiff. So, the way that this one's worked, it's supposed to be soft. But if we're comparing this to actual antennas, so like, I don't have a way to draw a straight line, but this one bends. I'm pretty sure far more than the average car antenna does. So I could actually make the movements here a bit bigger, in fact. So scale this way. Make these more exaggerated. Okay, that bottom one is far too exaggerated. Oh, scale that way. Yeah, there seems to be a lot more motion between these. So maybe an extra frame between these will give it the softness that it requires. I think I quite like that. I will, however, give this slightly more here. Just to... There we go. Just to give it that little bit extra boost. Now, the extra movement from the head down here could prove to be a problem. The only reason I think that is because that's still moving quite a fair bit. And if the antenna is going to be moving quite a lot at the top, maybe the head needs to move slightly less. We'll see. I wonder if the drivers, so any driver settings that you could make, I wonder if that can take over overlapping motion like this. Because I don't imagine that you would want to be doing this specific thing manually all the time. Yeah, I feel like there may be too much movement in that body. Yeah, I feel like there's too much. Let's go to 37 first. way in. In fact, I could probably even just get rid of that one. And just the curves. These need to be move. What's going on with this? Why is the difference between 42 and 53 so much? Left halves on that, and now that still doesn't answer any questions for me. Let's try it work. Okay, for some reason the water crank settings on this one just decided to go kaput, but now that I've done that, should fix the issue. Okay, okay, now that I've done that, yeah, this still feels quite large. This lot here definitely needs to be edited. Okay, there we go. So I guess 42 I can probably use. Okay, cool. Let's have a look. I keep hitting the reverse by accident. I don't think that's too bad. I think I've done a decent job on this. I'll probably have to come back to it tomorrow morning and just see how I can improve things. Because I don't... Well, I mean, like, there are probably multiple things that I can improve upon, but at the same time, like, I like the ability to use my eyeballs, to be honest with you, chat. Like, there's only so long one can go for in a single session before things start to become just a little bit more. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit too spicy. Why would it be sharpened there? but then that just does that weird stuff. Okay, I think I've grabbed the wrong ones. Whoopsies. Cards. Okay, that should be a bit cleaner. I don't know why I'm putting so much detail into this. Especially considering that this forward motion isn't even the main star of the show here. Man, they made the antenna so floppy in the example exercise. Like, I'm pretty sure if it's flapping around that much, it's not going to hold its shape for very long. Anyway, I think that's probably... Oopsies. Probably where I'm going to leave off the stream. I've done a fair bit today, but I've still got probably... Whoopsies. There we go. That's the right screen. One of those is directly below the other one. Yeah, I've managed to do a fair bit. I probably need to work on this animation a bit more. Maybe I have to give it a couple of attempts. And then after this one is actually going to be walking animations. So there's a character with only 2 legs, and then there's a character that has a full body. So after that will be, like after this, we'll probably be working on the said character with only 2 legs. Alright, do I have anyone to raid? There is one, but I don't think he has his... Yeah, I don't think he has his raids on. Alright, anyway, I shall see y'all tomorrow, where hopefully I should have something a little bit more interesting to work with.